Eric Martin here, welcoming you to another setup for our readings this week for History 101. And this week we are looking at Chapter 11 from Worlds of History, Raiders of the Steppen Seas. This is one of my favorite chapters of the entire course. I got a lot of favorite chapters, but this one, in a lot of ways, the main topic is the role of the barbarian in world history. And that can be a pretty fun topic, I think. And so that's what I want you to think about a little bit, is this issue of trying to understand the history of barbarians and what is the barbarian and what does all this mean. So we got a couple of different issues going on here. On the one hand, there's this issue of separating out moral judgment. So as you're reading the documents for the week, pay attention to fact versus moral judgment. Okay? And then the other issue that you have to think about is whether or not it is our role as historians to pronounce moral judgment. Maybe it is. But maybe it's not. And I'm not sure that, seeking out to pronounce a moral judgment is the same as seeking out to try to figure out what happened and try to understand what happens, keeping in mind that understanding does not necessarily mean condoning, especially when there's a lot of death involved, right? And that's what we're dealing with steppe peoples and with Vikings in these two particular cases. Now, the way that we are going to go about approaching this, I've got the questions set up in the discussion board. But the way we're going to go about approaching this is I want you to start with that first document, that Guzman piece. Were the barbarians a negative or positive factor in ancient and medieval history? And he's really focusing on steppe peoples. The Mongols are one of many steppe peoples. And the reason the Mongols become famous on the stage of world history is because under the leadership of Genghis Khan, a very small, insignificant group of steppe peoples are able to create a system of alliances with other steppe peoples to put them in charge of the Central Asian plains. And but you can read about steppe peoples, in the Old Testament. So anyway, the Guzman piece really goes into the issues of what do we know about the barbarians. Pay attention to source problems. Steppe peoples, Vikings, but steppe peoples particularly, they don't write. They're illiterate. The sources we have about them are written by people who just got whooped. So how do you negotiate the historical source written by someone who is pronouncing moral judgment on someone else as they're writing about them and we're trying to figure it out? You guys get that idea. But go through the Guzman document and get a sense about what his main points are in terms of the conceptual study of barbarians in world history. And then I want you to skip a document just for a minute. Then read that Cunliffe piece on the Vikings. Those are our two secondary sources for the week. And on that Cunliffe piece, I want you to think about whether or not Cunliffe seems to support Guzman's points or not. Now, Cunliffe is not he's not talking directly to Guzman. He's not specifically addressing these issues. He's just explaining this is Viking society. This is why the raids occur. These are the environmental factors. These are the cultural factors. These are the political factors. And so the thing that I think you want to keep in mind as you're reading this is, in the Cunliffe piece, especially the why do Viking raids occur and when do they occur? They're not just random, right? It's not just, that people wake up one morning and say, it's time to go rape and pillage. There's a system. And so I think it might be useful for us to get an idea about what that system is in terms of understanding why things occur, right? Okay, that's the Cunliffe piece. And then I want you to go back and get into the primary sources. Read Ibn Fadlan. Some of y'all, the Ibn Fadlan piece might sound familiar, okay? Because about the first maybe 10 minutes, I don't remember exactly, but about the first 10 minutes of the movie, The 13th Warrior, is based on this document. Antonio Banderas plays Ibn Fadlan. Now, everything after the first 10 minutes is totally, fictional. But the story itself is the historical documents about Ibn Fadlan, this Muslim who runs into these Vikings and happens to be there during a death ceremony for a Viking chief. It's pretty interesting stuff. So go through that. Pay attention to Ibn Fadlan and his reaction to what he's seeing, but see what you can learn about Viking culture through that. And then the other piece you've got is the saga of Eric the Red. Now you can go online and find the full version if you're interested in such things. It's pretty cool. And you get a good sense of what life must have been like for medieval peoples living that far north. All right, that's really what you're trying to look at, is what is life like for these people. Okay? Then the primary sources change. And the next 4 primary sources that we have are all about perhaps the most famous barbarians of all, the Mongols. Ivo of Narbona, The Secret History of the Mongols, a piece by Ibn al-Athir, who's also a very good Islamic historian in terms of documenting the Crusades. And then also John of Plano Carpini. Read those sources, get a sense about the Mongols. All right, keep in mind that that 6th document, The Secret History of the Mongols, that one, it's got an interesting provenance behind it, an interesting history behind it. It is the only document that we have of the Mongols actually recording their own history. And the Mongol language was adopted for the Uyghur script. But anyway, your general mission in the primary sources is to get a sense of what does Mongol life look like. And as you're going through all this, right, this whole idea about, back to the Guzman document, what is the barbarian's role in world history? That's your mission. So anyway, in the thread for the week, it's got different threads for each document. I think maybe it's useful for y'all to discuss the documents independently to get an idea about the specific details, to make sure you understand the specific details of any particular document. But the main discussion I want to happen right here in this particular thread on this role of the barbarian in world history. Okay, that's all I got for you today. Enjoy the readings. They're fun. Go read The 13th Warrior. Put you in the mood. Get ready for the blood. All right, that's not a movie to watch probably with your young kids. and don't mistake it for history. But sometimes we watch these crazy things, right, just to kind of get you in the mood. You can pretend like you're doing homework. But anyway, you got questions, email me, call me at the office, drop by the office, and until next time, enjoy your historical studies.